If you could just sit a moment and observe your surroundings, your life, okay? And just like have an audit of everything you've gone through in your life. How do you know none of that stuff was made up? How do you know that you weren't just made like yesterday or something? Or how do you know that nothing in history that you were ever taught ever really existed? Like everything they've taught you about the wars that we used to have, everything in general, how, we came to be the way we are now, evolution, all the science that everything about religion. How do you know that just didn't like start the moment that you came out the womb and that's what you were taught up until the moment you became aware? And then you come here and you hold on to all this. But the whole thing is that they propose things to you like aliens and, UFOs and whatnot. And a lot of the times it's not even that you either, some people say they believe it or not, but it's like you need to believe in it. It's kind of like you're possessed because whatever idea of the ones in power you have in your mind, they need you to believe it. And whatever the technology that they have, which is nothing but you, basically not you're just not aware. Because honestly, what are you aware of? You think you're aware because you're like aware, you're conscious and talking. It's like, you could be walking and you're conscious, but if you ain't aware of a log on the floor, you're gonna trip and fall and bust your shit. All right, and this can go into many layers of awareness, just certain things, just reading between the lines of certain things. So when you look at, for example, the UFOs and whatnot, there's billboards literally by like where Area 51 is at, and they say that I need to believe or we believe, the whole belief is kind of like, I look at it like hope. Like you see things outside of you and you want to believe. It's like you need to believe for a couple of reasons. For one is that you don't see yourself as the ultimate creator of all things, creating even the UFOs that they're putting up in the sky, you creating it. Okay. And two, if you were to really observe why they would do this, okay, put it this way. If you cease to exist, they wouldn't exist. They would die. Whatever the they that you have in your mind as far as the idea you have of them is, they would die. You continue. Okay? So they would die because they're not really real. But you're not really real. But the consciousness, what are you self-aware of? Okay? You go to sleep. You lose consciousness, right? So you're not conscious. But the awareness part, where is that at? You're not aware even when you're conscious. The self-awareness, directing your day of every moment, but being in the now moment, because the moment you operate through your day, you lose yourself from that moment, which is the center, and you go either in the past or the future because you're running on whatever programs you have. And you keep accepting more of this programming every time you listen to more and more information outside of you. You leave your woman with the legs open and it's kind of like just impregnating her, and you keep getting birthed a certain reality based on whatever it is that the outside of you wants it to be, instead of the real you wanting it to be. It's like the ego. The ego doesn't exist, so none of this shit outside exists. So what are you paying attention to it so much for? Certain movements. You say, I don't participate in nothing, but the moment you put an opinion and an idea and you try to talk to somebody else about it, what are you really doing? Are you convincing somebody else or are you convincing yourself of it? The moment that you leave your center or your space, you're literally a space cadet. You lost in the sauce, whatever the sauce outside of it is. Your ego is not real. Your ego doesn't exist. So whatever you see outside of you and you ain't aware, it's your ego. Because none of that shit outside of you exists. And this is a manifestation of your ego, because your ego truly doesn't exist. So whatever you see outside of you trying to block you, or let's say be the player hater, the cock blocker, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, is because the ego wants to be in control. The ego likes the things that it knows. It doesn't want to know the unknown. And this is basically feminine energy. When you become aware, you're in true masculine energy. But the whole thing is not to discard feminine energy. That's the subconscious mind. The subconscious is going to receive whatever goes in there. If the conscious mind is offline, which is the gatekeeper, then it's going to allow anything into the subconscious mind. Again, leaving your bitch with the legs open. So in other words, everybody's like cucks. They like to see themselves and they like to see their bitch get fucked by other conscious aware beings. Put it that way. So anything outside of you is impregnating your subconscious mind. So you have this expansion and then you have contraction. Okay? You birth these things out. What are you putting into your subconscious mind that you are aware that you want in there? Have you became aware of the negative programs first? The negative programs is part of feminine energy. So even though whatever came out of the realm of lights, okay, went into the subconscious mind, it's in the dark. You're not aware of it. So it's still feminine energy. Once you become aware of it, now you're in true masculine energy, because now what was in the dark, you take order and you guide that negative idea out of darkness and you bring it to the light. You either integrate it or you discard it there. That's how you discard it. You know what stays, you know what goes. You clean your house. This all starts with becoming self-aware. How do you become self-aware? You know, meditative practices. A lot of people look at this as some woo-woo, pseudo shit, but it's like an exercise. That's all it is. You stay focused. You're exercising your frontal cortex. You're exercising your focus muscle. A lot of people can't stay focused on one thing for a long period of time. Sometimes you just ask yourself, if I want to, when I make my videos, I make journals. These are journals. I'm not convincing you of a goddamn thing. You don't have to believe anything what the fuck I'm telling you over here. In fact, if you don't even like the way I sound or speak, don't listen to my videos. Don't listen to my videos. Go somewhere else that, they're going to fucking fluff shit up, make it very comfortable for you to listen to, because that's what the ego likes. The ego likes to be in comfort. You know what's funny though? When you hear things that are self-empowering and I tell you that there is no government, you are the government, or I tell you things like there are no aliens, you are the aliens, or you are the one projecting those aliens in the fucking pixelized world that you live in. You're creating the aliens. Everything that you know of, you're programmed and you are creating it as you go along. So you are basically a collection of fucking data and you're just bringing this information to light, but you're not aware of what you're even bringing to light. It's just whatever was put into you and is giving birth into your reality now. And there's people who could see who's actually aware and who's not. Real recognizes real. So you'll start to hear all this bullshit about, the people like with certain movements, the red pill, blue pill. I've been talking about it for a while with this whole demonizing of the feminine movement. I'm not a feminist. Okay, I'm not a feminist, but the way they go about it, with the masculinity, because I have a son and he's eventually going to be listening to certain videos probably. So I have to be a gatekeeper now and see what goes into his subconscious mind. So what I'm doing is monitoring the things that are basically being played out here, sort of like being a disruptor. And I'm gladly labeling myself a disruptor. I don't care if it comes into form of debates. I don't care if it comes into discussions or even building on conversations. One thing I can tell you is that you have to become self-aware. Nothing out here matters. The moment you become self-aware, you'll see that everything that's outside of you starts to become aware of you now. And this is going to be basically, how can you handle that kind of smoke? You ever hear these financial gurus say that what you're seeking is seeking you? But are you aware of it? Are you aware of the opportunities that are presented to you to be able to exploit these opportunities? Because you're putting them there yourself. The moment you start paying attention to one thing, it trickles down to other things. Other things start presenting themselves to you. All right? And it could be negative or it could be positive. Either way you put it, it's still energy. What do you do with that energy? You're putting negative energy into you at all times. Every time you eat some fucked up, pushy, bullshit ass food. Do you know how to alchemize that? Do you know how to transmute that and make it work for you? Are you even able to process that complexity to begin with? If you're not, lighten your load. Lighten your load, and then you may even become enlightened just because you lightened your load. I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna go over the video that I recorded with Aaron Berry. I'm gonna break it into brackets. He had that video posted, and YouTube took it down for community guideline strike, and a lot of chaotic shit was said. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my own little edits on it. Whatever I know triggered the algorithm, I'm just gonna basically edit that out. But I'm gonna be basically talking over it. I'll break it into 30 minutes, sections, just to make it easy to digest. It is a 3-hour video, a 3-hour conversation. So I'm gonna break it into parts so that you enjoy it a lot better. But that's all I got for this video. We'll talk soon.